How do you assess your team's performance? This is such a difficult task because everything else in your business, whether it's marketing or sales or operations or profit, they're all easy to quantify, but people are not objects. And the closer you get to objectifying them, turning them into objects or vehicles or irrelevancies, the further you get away from actually having an effective team. In this video, I'm gonna break down the only 2 strategies you need to properly assess your team. I'm also gonna give you my 3 tactics to level up your team the very fastest. So in 90 days, your team can look significantly different from a performance perspective than it currently does now. So let's dive in. I'm Cort Brady, scaled multiple companies, exited a couple, and now I spend all of my time helping founders build companies that grow independent of them. My most recent was going from 0 to 80 employees, transitioning from CEO to now replacing myself with another CEO and becoming a board member. And of all of the stuff I learned, the number 1 takeaway was that whoever has the best team is gonna succeed. Let me tell you how I came to that conclusion. 8 years ago, when I was first starting out, I was trying to figure out how do I be successful. So I talked to as many founders as I could, as many entrepreneurs, read as many books as I could get my hands on, just to figure out how to be successful. There was one conversation with an entrepreneur. He owned a private equity firm that he started. Essentially what that means is he invests and buys other companies, builds them up, and then sells them. So he's been around the block. And we talked about all the things that I thought drove success. We talked about profit, we talked about profit margin, we talked about strategy, we talked about how do I fund my business. In one of those conversations, he stopped me mid-sentence and he said, Cort, it sounds like of all these questions you're asking, you're just looking for a silver bullet, which if I could give you one, it's this. In business, whoever has the best team wins, period. That's what it all comes down to. For the last 8 years, that's what I've obsessed over. How do I create the very best team? And that was the key to allowing me to build a company that I own, that I was able to step out of with employees that drive the business forward. So I kept pushing this idea forward, and I got to the point 4 years after that conversation where I thought I had a really good team, but I wasn't sure. How do you quantify it? What do you compare it to? So I hired a consultant to come on and help specifically with people and processes so that I could scale the company even further. Around that time, we had about 25 employees. I paid tens of thousands of dollars for that consultant, and my biggest takeaway was his unique talent assessment. And that's what I'm gonna share with you today for free. So let's jump in. The first data point that you need when it comes to assessing your team's talent is performance. Performance is the crux of everything that we're talking about. How well do they perform individually, and how well does the team that they lead perform under their leadership? I love using the framework of A, B, and C players, so that's what we're gonna break everything down into. So as you think about performance, people that are hitting their KPIs, their metrics, their goals, 85% of the time or more, they're on track to be your A players. Those that are hitting them 70 to 85%, they're on track to be your B players, and under 70%, those are your C players. I can imagine a lot of you are like I was when I first heard this. I haven't even been tracking metrics. I haven't been looking at performance. So like, how do I do this? Because up until that point, everything's a gut feel, it's a vibe, it's a tone, it's people lobbying, it's them trying to say, I crushed, so therefore I should be at this level. That's really difficult to do. The fortunate part is that you only need about 3 months of data of performance tracking to really know how someone's performing and be able to make significant changes in your company based on that data. So the best time to start tracking performance was 3 months ago. If you haven't started tracking it, the best time to start is today and track for at least the next 3 months, and then you can start making decisions. Just in 30 seconds, so you have my quick guide on how to track performance. You first have to start by describing why their job exists. Do they know what their purpose is? Second, what KPIs and metrics do they own? Third, within those KPIs and metrics that they own, what does good and poor performance actually look like? If you want them to get sales, how many? If you want them to cut costs, how much? And then fourth, what are the consequences based on how they perform? Set those consequences beforehand. It's way easier to move someone out of your company if they know I'm gonna be moved out if I don't hit these metrics, and it's way easier to justify a promotion to everyone else if you say, hey, this guy hit these metrics and that was the deal. He hit these metrics, he got this promotion. So that's step 1. You rate performance for everyone in the company, and I do this every single quarter. This is such an important task because people are likely your highest expense and they're also your highest point of leverage. The second step to assessing your team is looking at core values. Every company should have 3 to 5 core values. No more than 5, because then they become irrelevant because you have too many. For each of your team members, you're gonna rate them based on their performance. This is best done with you, their manager, and perhaps a coworker, but at least you and their manager. This is best done with you and their manager. You're gonna assess them based on this criteria. You're gonna say, if they embody the core values, they're a 9 or a 10. If they need a little bit of coaching to get better, you're gonna say they're a 7 or an 8. If they violate your core values, not often, but they do, then they're gonna be a 5 or 6. And if they actively violate and don't live your core values ever, they're gonna be a 1 through 4. Having done the core value assessment, you're gonna be able to triangulate where they perform based on both core values and performance. So you have somebody that lives the core values and they're a high performer, awesome. Those are your A players. Those are the people that you have to hold on to. Second, you have somebody that's mid at both. They kind of live the core values, but they need a little bit of coaching and they hit their metrics 70 to 85% of the time. Those are your B players. They won't kill your company, but they're not gonna drive it forward. And then you have the people that actively violate your core values and they don't hit their metrics. Those are your C's. Those are the people that instantly need to be removed. Now, some of the trickiness here comes when you have somebody that's high on performance, but low on core values. Those are your toxic top performers. It's really painful to lose those people because they're actually moving the needle forward in the short term. But if you hold on to those people for the long term, they will literally erode your culture and your company will start to fall apart. The other side of that coin is when you have somebody that's really high on core values, but they're low on performance. This is the nice person, the person that everyone likes, and these are the most painful because you don't want to get rid of these people. Fortunately, you don't have to. If someone's high on core values but low on performance, they're likely in the wrong role. So shift them from whatever role they're in to a different role. And if they're high on core values, they'll do well and thrive in that new role. So high core values but low performance, move them to somewhere else. High performance, low core values, move them outside of your company. They don't get an extra shot. Core values rarely change, performance can. All right, so as promised, here are the different benchmarks where your life is going to start changing and my 3 tactics to immediately boost the performance of your team. Most companies, as they perform this assessment, are gonna follow this normal bell curve where you have 15% A players, 70% B players, and 15% C players. Your world starts changing when you get to 40% A players. That's when you stop putting out fires. That's when you stop dealing with employee drama, is that 40% mark. Now 60% is when you can actually transition out of the company and have a company that runs independent of you. You now have no requirement to spend any time working in your business and all of your work gets to be on your business. And the fastest lifts of increasing your A percentage are these. Number 1, eliminate your C players. No one ever says to themselves after removing a C player, man, I really wish I would have waited longer to do that. They're so grateful that they did it. So today, immediately, fire your C players. This is gonna take your A player percentage from 15% to 22.5% immediately. This is addition by subtraction. The next step is figure out the B players that you can coach up. These are gonna be your A potentials, the top of your B range that just need some coaching, likely on performance, maybe a little bit on core values to get into that A player range. And then the final step is to only hire A players. You can check out my other videos where I walk you through my hiring process that gets you an A player 92% of the time. As natural attrition occurs, you're gonna have people fall off, you're gonna replace them with A players, you're gonna fire all of your C players, and you're gonna get to that 40%, and that's when your world starts to change. If this video helped you, smash that like button, subscribe. I put out new content every single day to give you frameworks to build a team and the systems to help you scale your company. And leave a comment below. What's the #1 action you're gonna take today to increase your A player percentage?